Hello, welcome back everybody. So let's have a look at Bitcoin and we'll look at Matic, actually, two of the most interesting things of the day, definitely without question. They've both been pretty interesting. So let's have a look at Bitcoin to start with. So Bitcoin's basically playing out the expected move now, which was to come back down. As I was saying in my previous video just last night, is that I had decided that this is more likely to come down. I'd gone up from 55 to then 65% sure that we were going to go down, and the reason is that we did have a nice big bounce, and then we had continuation, which was the very first time we'd broken out the descending trend and had a candle close above it in a more realistic fashion. But it began to remind me of exactly what happened the last time we had a significant bounce and then a continuation, which kind of failed miserably. This time looked a little more constructive, so it was definitely stronger than this up here this time, but because we had the death cross here and the itchy cloud was contrived, it was forced, it basically became almost a carbon copy of what happened here. We had a big move here, a big bounce basically from a historical low. We broke down underneath this 242 moving average here, and also we broke down beneath the 200 EMA quite nastily, and so a bounce was on the cards, and we did get a bounce and we got a massive one. That forced this itchy cloud, which generally is a bullish sign on a longer time frame. Dailies aren't quite so good, but you know, they generally do count for something. But this was forced, and then we had a cross back down again. So what did we have here? We had a revisiting of this level here where we bounced really hard from before. We came back down. On this occasion we bounced quite hard, but we didn't revisit this high, so it looked weaker in that respect. We had the cross here, but the cross was basically after the top, so it was basically forced. The whole thing has been forced. Basically what we were looking at here is just a bounce, similar to this was. It's just a bounce, and it's easy to get excited when bounces are so strong and they're over $1,000. You know, obviously that's exciting, but again, let's reiterate, it was just a bounce. And what's going to happen here over this next 24 to 48 hours, the itchy cloud will cross back down, the conversion over the baseline will cross back down, and we're underneath a big fat resistance cloud. It's basically gone bearish again. So we're probably going to find a little bounce on this level here, and this descending trend. If it were to do that today, that bounce would take place around about 6,700. Tomorrow a little bit further down, essentially going down about $50 a day. That's our support line, but the chances are once we get below that takes us up to around about the 5th of January. This support line will be lower than our main support here, and basically we're going to break down quite hard, I would imagine, between $1,000 to $1,500 breakdown, and that wouldn't surprise me if that happened in 1 or 2 daily candles. Quite nasty, in fact. So that's what I'm expecting. If we, look at the size of this area that we're trading in right now. Let's just measure that Bollinger Band from bottom to the top. That is a trading area of around 10%. That's kind of 10% is where I'm expecting us to fall back down beneath. So if we got to the bottom of that Bollinger Band, 10% down would bring us to... no, we're going to come down more than that, absolutely. We'll probably be looking to come down around 25 to 30%, I would say. Yeah, there we go. So about 28% would be our absolute bottom of around 5,000 to around 4,900 to 5,000. That would definitely be a decent bottom. So anyway, enough about Bitcoin. Let's move on to Matic, because Matic has actually been doing some strange stuff today. It's actually up on its sats, showing that generally speaking it has pulled back. There's no question. We've pulled back here. You can see that on the tether pairing. But interestingly, when you look at the Satoshi values, we're up for the day. So basically all this means is that it's stronger than Bitcoin currently, as it is right now. It had a pump before this breakdown, so that pump has basically buffered this whole situation. Our area that we're trading in here is getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Now let's measure this from the bottom of here to the top. It's a trading range of, well, it's still big. It's still a very big trading range, let's face it, but it's getting tighter and tighter. 39 to 40% trading range, top to bottom. The good thing is now is that we're trading above the 200 EMA on the Satoshi pairings. On the tether pairing we're not. We're being rejected from what would this be, the 34 MA or 34 EMA. Yeah, so it's not looking great. I did put a pitchfork in here to see how well this holds up. I mean, we're being supported from the bottom of it here. We'll have to see if this holds up. If this begins to look like it wants to do something, then we could be onto mapping out a trend. And if we break down beneath it, and this isn't anything right now, this is something we're going to see if it plays out or not. It's got to play out for at least about 4 or 5 days, I'd say, for us to get excited about it. But if we break down beneath it, then I would say we're going to go bearish again. So there is, and don't get too excited, everybody, but there is a chance that Matic might make another run. That run probably, you know, I'll be surprised if we break above 1.7 cent. If we break above there, then yeah, we'll try and get to 2 cents again, but I'm not seeing it, to be honest. I'm really not kind of seeing it, but we'll see if this pitchfork trend has anything to do with anything on there. But the good news is that yes, we have pulled back with Bitcoin, and we are likely to pull back significantly more, but Matic might be slowing down in that pullback situation. So if Bitcoin does come down to the levels that I expect, which is into the 5,000 levels, if that does happen, then I think Matic will make its way back to 1 cent, but then we could probably say that that was likely to be Matic's bottom, as it was before. So that's all I've really got to say on these chats, really. I mean, it's a bit of a precursor as to what's going to happen. We're going to mess around in this little area, I'd imagine, for a few days now, but I'd expect between now and the 13th we'll have had our big hit by then, and we'll be down into this area, and we'll probably come down quite viciously. But I think the move's mostly been played out today. We're going to be in a small range, at least for a couple of days, I'd imagine, and that might give Matic a little chance to run. Possibly, but don't quote me on that. I can't trade this coin at the moment. I just can't trade it. It's not a tradable asset for me, but I do like to look at it because it's made me a lot of money. So obviously I'm keen to make money on it again, but I'm only going to trade it when I'm sure it's going to work, you see. And at the moment I'm not sure. So if you want to gamble your money away, that's your business. I'm not a financial advisor, so this is financial advice, definitely not. So just be careful with what you do with something like Matic, because anything is possible with this coin. It could go massively up, it could break down completely. We've seen it all before, and in the situation that we are right now in the market, where things are looking a little bit dodgy, I would hold a lot of judgment on calling it with Matic anyway. With Bitcoin, not so much. I'm pretty confident we're going to come down with that, but with Matic, I couldn't really tell you either way. It looks like we're still basically consolidating from this giant, huge dump that happened. So something like this should warn. This should warn a lot of people. It's a giant flag, a big red flag saying, just be careful with me, because I can wipe out all your profits. I can make you, I can break you in the blink of an eye. So that's what this chart's telling me right now. Is that I don't want to get wrecked. I might miss out on some pumps, but those pumps I cannot account for. This one, you know, if you follow my channel, we all knew this one was coming, and those who follow me, you know, you might have profited alongside with me. That was a 4x in just over a 2-week period, and we sold at the top because we used the chart. Using the chart on this occasion is not going to help us at all, because this chart is still a big mess, and we're trying to make some kind of sense out of it. At the moment, we can't make sense out of this. I can't anyway. I'll defy anybody to be able to make sense out of this right now. It's just a mess. You can't read a mess like that. All moving averages are now converging in on each other, making a giant sort of technicoloured moving average. So there's no edge. No one's got an edge over this right now, and all we've got is previous historical support and resistances, and a giant big red flag telling us that I am a big scary chart that can kill you if I want to. So let's just be careful, everybody. Anyway, I'll leave it with you there. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a nice evening, and take it easy.